All right, Hornady Critical Defense Lite, 9mm and 38 special ballistic test. I'm going to do several different barrel lengths, and the reason why I'm using these barrel lengths is this is a 5-inch M&P pistol. It's a 4-inch revolver, and we got about the same amount of barrel travel between the two from bullet nose to muzzle. Same thing here. We got our Taurus 605 and our Taurus G2C. We have pretty much identical bullet travel, so this should be a really fair test between full-size handguns and actually concealed carry size handguns. Now, critical defense is designed for concealed carry size handguns, but that doesn't mean it's not going to perform well in a full-size handgun. So what we have for our 38 special, it's a 90 grain FTX. We have our pink tip. That's like a breast cancer awareness. So 90 grain, and our 9mm is 100 grain. So very interesting, very similar bullet weights and diameters. So we are going to go through our chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then we're going to go through our 10% clear ballistics test. And I do have 4 layers of denim, and then I have about 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent kind of like a pectoral muscle. And then behind that, we have a 1/4 inch medium density fiber board to represent our ribs or sternum hip, and then back into clear ballistics. Now, what this does, typically if the bullet expands the same between no MDF and MDF, this takes away about 2 inches of this. So what we want to get is at least 10 inches in this through our MDF. And then we're going to take the MDF out, and we'll try it without it to represent a gut shot, which would not have ribs or sternum in the way. And then I'm going to do some practical accuracy drills from 25 yards at my full-size steel silhouette target. So this should be an interesting test. Let's see what we get. All right, first up is our 9mm through our 5-inch barrel. This is actually rated at 1125 feet per second, but it's probably through a shorter barrel length. So we're about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. Let's see what we get with our full-size pistol and our Critical Defense Lite 9mm. 1218, 1226, 1209, 1161, 1220. It's going to be kind of hard to beat that accuracy. Let's try this in the shorter barrel. So definitely a lot higher than rated velocity in our full-size pistol. Let's see what our Taurus G2C will give us. 1163, 1134, 1126, 1135, 1147. So above rated velocity in this 3.2-inch barrel. That's pretty impressive. Let's see how the 38 special does. All right, 38 special. This is rated at 1200 feet per second. Let's see what we get in our 4-inch barrel 686. 982. 913. 888. 893. 907. So I don't know where they're getting 1200 feet per second, but what I can say is this is like shooting a cap gun, almost no recoil. Let's see how our shorter barrel does. All right, 2-inch barrel. Let's see what this does. 871, 820, 822, 844, 839, and even though those numbers are not impressive, the recoil is very, very low, but obviously our power is very low also. So let's hit our ballistics gel block. You know, power isn't necessarily everything, and we'll see how they perform. All right, first up we have our 9mm through our full-size pistol. Let's see what this will do through our medium density fiber board. That is some of the largest expansion I've ever seen through this, and with it being a 9mm, yeah, that's dumping some energy quick. All right, so what we got is our damage path is at 8.5, which should be 10.5, which is definitely under penetration. But maybe it expanded too much and the shorter barrel will do better. So let's try that right above this. All right, critical defense light, 9mm through our short barrel. We'll go above that, see if we get a little more penetration. And we're seeing almost the same amount of hole through that fiberboard, but not quite as big. And like I was suspecting and hoping for, what we actually have is 9 inches of total damage path, which would be about 11 inches without this if the bullet expands the same. So a little bit shallow still, but a little bit better, not by much, but a little bit better than the full-size pistol. So let's pull out the 38 Special and see how that does. All right, 38 Special. I'm really curious about this round because my sister actually keeps a 4-inch K-frame with this round in it as her house gun. So might be good to know what this will do. So let's see what we get. And through our MDF, it's smaller than the 9mm. And what we got is severely under penetration. I mean, we're looking at 6-inch damage path. Without the MDF, we're talking 8 inches. That is a very low amount of penetration. That's half of what we really want to get. Let's try the snub nose and see how that does. All right, snub nose revolver. Let's see what we can get here with this 38 Special. But what we actually got there is really impressive, actually. We have the smallest hole through our MDF, obviously, because we got the most expansion here. So what we're looking at here is it looks like we're at about 11.25 inches total, which would be like 13.25 typically. And we also have some expansion. Who would have guessed that that round as the weakest power would have done that well? Now let's put up a different block and we'll shoot it without the MDF and we'll see what kind of penetration we get like that. All right, full-size pistol, 9mm, no MDF. Let's see what we get. All right, so what we're looking at is about 9.25 inches. So again, we are under penetrating, even in our gut shot. Let's try the 3.2 inch barrel. All right, 3.2 inch barrel, kind of the pistol this round was designed to be used in. Maybe, you know, the less velocity will help this out actually. So let's see what we get. So yeah, the less velocity did help it out a little bit. We're looking at 10.75. So it's still under penetrating, but it did a little bit better. Let's try the 38 Special now. All right, full size gun, 38 Special. Let's see what this does. All right, so with that, we actually have a damage path of 10 1/4. So it's still under penetrating. Let's pull out the snub and see how that does. All right, snub nose 38 special. This is the only one that did okay with the MDF. Let's see how it does in our quote unquote gut shot. Yep, that's the only one that had adequate penetration. Did not expand, but we're at 16.5. So, you know, even though it didn't expand, it looks like it may have tumbled here. It did a good amount of damage. So even though our expansion isn't that good, this is the only one that, you know, I'm saying the 38 special and the snub is the only one that seems consistent as far as our penetration goes, but not so much in our expansion. Now let's shoot from 25 yards and just see how these guns will do. All right, 25 yards from the target there. I'm just going to aim center mass and do some slow fire just to kind of see what kind of accuracy these things will have. Very nice with this pistol for sure. Let me try the shorter barreled 9mm. All right, here's our G2C. I'll aim for center mass again. All right, as expected, a little bit larger group. That's hitting a little bit to the right and low of my point of aim. Let's try the revolvers now. Now this gun has so little recoil with that round that this is like shooting a cap gun, so it's easy to shoot without flinching, that's for sure. All right, let's try the snub. All right, snub nose revolver. See how this does for me. All right, pretty good overall. So critical defense 9mm versus 38 special. The takeaway from this is, yes, they all have lighter recoil, but in the 9mm, I'm not thinking that recoil is really that much significantly lower. It's a little lower than a lot of rounds, but if you were to take just a basic standard pressure 115 grain, I think it's going to feel about the same as that 9mm round. Now in 38 special, the recoil reduction was significant. It went from having felt recoil to basically having no felt recoil in both of these guns. Even this 20-ounce Taurus here had almost no felt recoil, and yet our performance for penetration was good. So overall, what we're looking at here is not necessarily great performance. You have to be aware that that 9mm is not going to penetrate very deeply. Now that might be something you want, and there's no question about it. It would still be effective. It's just not going to be any FBI protocol. But as far as this goes in the snub nose, I'd say all in all, this was the winner, simply because this had no more felt recoil to me than that 686, which is kind of astonishing. So it has very little recoil, much less than pretty much any 38 special I've ever fired, and yet it's doing okay. So that's what you get today. Critical defense 9mm versus 38 special light. Not sure what I think. You could do better, but they did okay. So that's what you get. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.